What was he is, she is, it is?
είναι,
Είναι. Good. And with this type of verb that we're looking at, νοικιάζεται, for rent, σκέφτεται, he, she thinks, the ending ete doesn't look too much like είναι, apart from the fact that that final e is spelled ai, just like είναι. But also we have the t there, no, like representing ton, tin, to. So he needs, she needs, it needs,
χρειάζεται,
χρειάζεται. And what was he was, she was, it was?
ήταν,
Ήταν or ήτανε, we could also have. He was needing, she was needing, or was in need of is χρειαζόταν, χρειαζόταν,
χρειαζόταν,
or χρειαζότανε, just like we have ήταν or ήτανε, χρειαζόταν, χρειαζότανε. So this όταν ending looks much more like ήταν than we have in the present between ete and είναι, no? Χρειαζόταν. He or she needed it, was in need of it.
το χρειαζόταν,
Το χρειαζόταν, το χρειαζότανε. He was going to need it, she was going to need it or would need it.
θα το χρειαζόταν,
Very good. Θα το χρειαζόταν. What was they were?
ήτανε,
Ήτανε, the same, no? But we do differentiate this with the verbs, no? We don't use the same endings for he, she, and it, and they, even though είναι and itan represents all of those people. So in the present, we have, for example, χρειάζεται and χρειάζονται for he needs and they need. And in the open past, we have χρειαζόταν for he was in need of, and χρειάζονταν, χρειάζονταν for they were in need of. So we get an N, no, instead of otan, ontan, but also we move the accent to make these sound more dissimilar as well. Χρειαζόταν, he needed, χρειάζονταν, they needed in our open past. What was I think?
σκέφτομαι,
Σκέφτομαι. He thinks.
σκέφτεται,
Σκέφτεται. He was thinking.
σκεφτόταν,
Σκεφτόταν. And for they were thinking, instead of otan, we will have ontan, but also we don't accent that. We move the accent one behind as well to make them sound more different. So they were thinking.
σκέφτονταν,
Σκέφτονταν. How would you say what were they in need of? What did they need?
τι χρειάζονταν,
Τι χρειάζονταν. What would they need? What would they need?
τι θα χρειάζονταν,
Τι θα χρειάζονταν. How was I get lost?
χάνομαι,
Χάνομαι. I was getting lost.
χάθηκα, χάνονται,
So don't guess. All you need to do is look at what we have for I was. What is I was?
ήμουν,
Ήμουν. So I was getting lost.
χανόμουν,
Χανόμουν. Χανόμουνα. Very good. You were getting lost?
χανόσουν,
Χανόσουν. He or she was getting lost. It was getting lost.
χανόταν,
Χανόταν. And they were getting lost.
χανόνταν,
That sounds far too much like χανόταν. No? So what do we do to make that sound more different?
χάνονταν,
Χάνονταν. So that's a they were getting lost. And how would we say they would get lost? They were going to get lost.
θα χάνονταν,
Θα χάνονταν. So we have χάνονταν with a different accent to χανόταν, which helps to make them sound more different. But we also have another form for they in our open past for these types of verbs. Instead of χάνονταν, for example, we could also have χανόντουσαν. Χανόντουσαν. So you don't have to worry about producing that, but you may hear it. What was I imagine, like fantasy?
φαντάζομαι,
Φαντάζομαι. I was imagining.
φανταζόμουν,
Φανταζόμουν. He imagines.
φαντάζεται,
Φαντάζεται. He was imagining.
φανταζόταν,
Φανταζόταν. They imagine. Again, back to the present. They imagine.
φαντάζονται,
Good. Φαντάζονται. So, we're seeing a lot of forms, but all we need to do is go back and look at the verb to be reminded. So even though they are is just ine, even that e on the end of ine helps us remember that we have fantazonte and not the very similar sounding ontan, for example, which is for itan, no, for that open past. They were imagining
fantazontan,
fantazontan. And as I mentioned, we also have this alternative form, fantazondusan, fantazondusan, which you don't need to worry about building. No, we can continue building in the way that we've been doing, looking back to the verb to be. But you will hear that alternative form and maybe some others as well. So if you notice, that an alternative form is especially more heard than the one you're using, feel free to pick it up. But for now, for building, we want to look back to the verb to be for the present and the open past. You imagine, in the present, you imagine
fantazis, fantazese,
fantazese. You were imagining
fantazosun,
fantazosun. What was I sleep?
kimame,
Kimame. So this kimame has the accent on the ending, and it's also ame, no? But that doesn't cause us any problem. When we build, for example, I was sleeping, we still use omun. So how would that be? I was sleeping.
kimomun,
Kimomun. Were you sleeping? Were you sleeping?
kimosun,
Kimosun. He was sleeping.
kimotan,
Kimotan. We just look back to itan, no? And we get kimotan. They were sleeping.
kimotan,
So how do we differentiate otan from itan and the ending that we have for they? What do we add to it? A sound that we generally have for they.
an n,
An n. So what does otan become?
ontan,
Ontan. And actually here with kimame, that takes the accent on the ending, with the they form we won't see the accent move. It's going to be on ontan. So they were sleeping.
kimontan,
Kimontan. In the present for kimame, we get kimunte instead of onte. Kimunte. So with kimame, we have kimunte, no, for they, and we always want to, try to make our own pattern. So okay, we have ame going to kimunte. So we might also try that with fovame, I'm scared. So how might they're scared be?
fovunte,
Fovunte. And we saw that expression oenas tonalo to say one to the other, each other or of each other. So how would you say they're scared of each other?
fovunte oenas tonalo,
Very good. Fovunte oenas tonalo. And they were scared is an open past.
fovontan,
Fovontan. Good. And again, we have the accent here on ontan, just like with kimontan, because kimame and fovame have their accent on the end. What was we are?
imaste,
Imaste. And we were?
imastan,
Imastan. So what might we have for our ending for this open, ongoing past? If we went from imun to omun, isun to osun, we might go from imastan to
omastan,
omastan. Good. How would you say we were sleeping? We were sleeping.
kimomastan,
Kimomastan. We would sleep, or we were going to sleep.
sa kimomastan,
Tha kimomastan. What was you are, the formal or the plural? Esis.
iste,
Esis iste. So we have iste for you are, formal or plural, and the past, which is very similar to imastan, is
isastan,
isastan. You were, you guys were. Where were you guys?
puisastan,
Puisastan. So what ending might we expect for our open past for esis, for you plural or formal, if we have isastan?
osastan,
Osastan. I get lost? How is I get lost?
chanome,
Chanome. You guys are getting lost?
chaneste,
Chaneste. Very good. Chaneste. How would you say you guys were getting lost?
chanosastan,
Chanosastan. Good. You would get lost. You guys would get lost.
thachanosastan,
Thachanosastan. And what was the closed version of χάνομαι.
χαθώ,
Χαθώ. Good. So from χαθώ we can find the past easily. No, our standard I got lost rather than I was getting lost. All we have to do is add ik. So I got lost.
χάθηκα,
Χάθηκα. You guys got lost.
χαθήκατε,
Χαθήκατε. Very good. What is you guys have? Just you guys have.
έχετε,
Έχετε. Have you got lost? Have you got lost? So now we need got lost. But we know how to find that have past.
έχετε χάθει,
Good, but where does the accent go? On
χαθεί,
Good. Έχετε χαθεί. You guys have got lost. So we know how to find that now. We go from the closed form, χαθώ, and put it in hishiet form, χαθεί. Έχω χαθεί. Έχετε χαθεί. If we want to say you had got lost, then we just need the past of έχετε. So I had was είχα. So how would you guys had be?
είχατε,
Είχατε. You guys had got lost.
είχατε χαθεί,
Είχατε χαθεί. And we can get you would have got lost. Now, what do we add to είχατε, you had, to get you would have?
θα,
Good. So you would have got lost, still plural.
θα είχατε χαθεί,
Very good. Θα είχατε χαθεί.